Puerto Rican DNA reaction video, where I will react on my new Ancestry DNA 2023 results update. For those who don't know, I am 100% Puerto Rican, who's never lived elsewhere but in my own country, the island nation of Boriquen. And before getting my DNA results, my research onto my family was so deep that I had predicted my results perfectly for except my highest ethnicity that blew my mind, especially after this last update. After each reaction, like always, we will also analyze how these ethnicities affect the Puerto Rican population, whether cultural or phenotypical. That being said, like, share, and subscribe, and let's get to the reaction video. 27% Portugal at my highest ethnicity result. Amazing, isn't it? My reaction is, I never knew some Puerto Ricans were something greater other than a Spaniard ethnicity. As I grew up, everybody would say we are the mixture of Spain, the Africans, and the Taino. However, it seems to be more complex than that, which to me is very surprising. This could in fact explain why especially Western Puerto Ricans changed the R for an H for many words. This Portuguese entry can be attributed to the first wave of Spanish conquistadores who left the Iberian Peninsula via the coast of Portugal, thus bringing them Portuguese men. And another wave of Portuguese immigration would be that of the Canaries, which are known to carry some levels of Portuguese ancestry. Other migrations were as recent as the 20th century. 21% Taino, indigenous of Puerto Rico as my second highest ethnicity result. This is crazy awesome, and it makes sense, more sense than prior result updates that had me at lower percentages like 17, 16, and then 18%. As I grew up, we Boricua think we look Taino maybe because of a possible 1 to 5% native. However, this is why we are Boricua. It was never 5% like I probably thought as a child. This is what makes us Boricua. And there are Puerto Ricans that upon reaching the 2023 update are even at 30% Taino or close. Some facts are, other than Taino ancestry, we also carry the Taino female lineage, which is called mtDNA, which is a network of the female haplotype C1, the most common being the subhaplogroup C1b2. And it is also noteworthy to mention that the most frequent Y chromosome haplogroup among the Puerto Rican men is R1b, through its subhaplogroups respective to provinces mainly from Spain. The R1b and R1a of Europe corresponds to a Mongoloid lineage, for the same thing is happening to the female population of Puerto Rico, that by lineage the majority of the population of Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans, possibly at a rate of 65%, are both technically lineages of Mongoloid origin. Therefore, Boricua are Mongoloid by lineage, but Western hunter-gatherer and Neolithic farmer by carried ancestry, apart from the Central Asiatic or Eurasian DNA already mentioned, also categorized as just ancestry and by extension not lineage. As for the technical term for ancestry, I have just utilized. Note, from GetMatch tools, I was able to calculate my Eurasian-based ancestry at possibly as high as 30%, or even almost as high as 40%, including Scythian peoples like the ancient North Eurasians of Afontova Gora. In the articles and encyclopedias, even Western hunter-gatherers have some ancient North Eurasian derived DNA. 20% Spain, as my third highest ethnicity. It's pretty cool because I love Spain, the food, the culture, and el flamenco, las noches de bulería music, the dialects. La Liga is a great tournament with club rivals such as FC Barcelona and El Real Madrid. Totally amazing how politics and identity is even present in the sport. Spain is great, albeit Boricuas, even though they love Spain for the majority, we also have mixed feelings onto the horrible actions they committed onto the African slaves and the Taino natives of Puerto Rico. It's just how we are as a culture. We know we love some aspects of our culture, but some can be pretty dark, and it's in the memory of the Puerto Rican, of the Boricua. My next one is the fourth, which is Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu peoples at 7%. For these, even though they are ethnicities, and everything under Portugal, Taino, and Spain is under 7% as ethnicities, I still like to add all the black African ethnicities to see how much of black Africa I am. That being said, 7% from Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu peoples, 5% from Senegal, 1% Mali, 1% Benin and Togo, and 1% Nigeria, which adds up to a solid 15% overall black African. It seems most of my ancestors carry some level of African ancestry, and it sums up to 15%. It is most likely I had a, for all intensive purposes, pure African ancestor probably as recent as 6 generations ago. I'm happy with my black African ancestry. 5% Irish, and as an extension 2% Scottish. I knew from history Irish and Scottish also had their migrations to Puerto Rico. However, I didn't imagine it would be as true as possibly 7% of Celtic from the Brythonic Isles, even if I would have expected it. But also, we can imply much of this can derive from the cultural exchange Celtic peoples of Ireland had with the old Celtiberian cultures that would have crossed the Sea of Biscay and would have had access through France. The point is, cultural exchange between the two is documented. Overall, still pretty cool. Basque Country, 4%. This is where I am getting my subhaplogroup of R1b from. Therefore, the place where my Yamnaya ancestors settled was the Basque Country, and places that also reach France. This totally means at least 2% of this 4% Basque can be of that Yamnaya man, and 2% from the female side, which should be composed mainly of Basque women who have high levels of Western hunter-gatherer derived ancestry. 2% North Africa. These would be Guanche, Lo Guanche, who are African, but are not the black African kind. These would also have a Semite origin, such as the Arabs that carry the E1B1 haplotypes. These are Ibero-Maurusians, who are known to also possibly have some Eurasian-derived origins, which is most likely from ancient North Eurasians. Ancient descriptions of the Ibers describe the Ibers with almond eyes, whereas many Gaulish tribes may present a level of high cheekbones. However, it is not prevalent of some Irish haplogroups, and it is totally possible a lack of high cheekbones and almond eyes may be a result of the phenotypes of that of the Neolithic farmers. Overall, Guanche is Afro-Asiatic, and it's still pretty cool. 2% Jewish. This may be referring as particularly Ashkenazi Jews. Notable populations pertaining my Puerto Rican ethnicity might be Ashkenazi Jews in Iberia, parts of Italy, and the Aegean, the Balkans and Russia and Central Asia, including possibly the ones from Germanic countries, might carry high levels of R1a and Indo-Iranic and Slavic haplotypes, and some still carry some level of Turkic or Central Asian ancestry. By the Middle Ages, the Ashkenazi Jews should have had some Turkic phenotypes, something like the Khazars. 1% Cerdeña, which is Sardinian. This test is acknowledging that 1% of my genetic makeup actually comes from Sardinia, a people who may derive up to 80% of their ancestry from the Neolithic farmers. And finally, 1% South Italy. My guess, this is referring to some Tuscan ancestry of Tuscany, of the kind that moves from Tuscany to Corsica and the other islands. But specifically Corsica comes to my mind, who may or may not have some levels of French ethnicities. However, it is not present in my DNA as of now. It is most likely Corsican or other islands, or something like Abruzzes and other provinces mentioned in my Get Match results. This would correlate to my last names, and whether the ancestry is via Corsica or España, these people would have had some affiliation to the Roman Empire. But it is known from history how French, Italians, and Corsicans, and people of the region of Catalonia and South France, and peoples of Valencia of the Greek colonies. This is how names all over the Mediterranean, even reaching onto Spain, have a Italic or Roman origin, such as the last name Marti, or such as the last name Negron. And seemingly Italian names like Negron or Negroni in places like Catalonia, and now possibly all over Spain. Thank you for watching this video. Like, share, and subscribe. I am Boricua. I am Puerto Rican. This is partially who we are as a people, as a country, and as a nation. It is said our Taino heritage is alive through our most beloved identity. Yo soy Boricua, pa que tú lo sepa. This is Abaquetone Borique. And I'll see you on the next video.